Welcome back to Veterans Forum, a program by veterans, about veterans, for veterans and their families. I'm your co-host, Bob West, with Ray Chattery. Jerry Devlin is on assignment. Our goal is to provide you and your family with important information on legislation, benefits, support, and activities important to you by interviewing leaders in our community. Ray, who do we have with us tonight?
Bob, we're very pleased to have Master Sergeant Phoebe Larned. She's currently serves as the Employment NCO in charge for the National Guard Bureau at Arlington Station. She was born in Denver, Colorado, and enlisted in the Colorado National Guard in 1993 with the Aviation Battalion. She has deployment in Haiti, and she completed the Post-Army 10-miler team, all-comer events, winning third place the first year and first place the second year. She went to airborne completion training and assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division Intelligence Battalion. She also is training in mobilization work at the Pentagon. She was promoted to Master Sergeant in, that's E8 for those, in August of 2011. And what's really significant is she was deployed to Kuwait with the 42nd CAB, and then returned to the National Guard, the NCO in charge for the family program. She was also employed to Haiti. And I'll just go over some of the decorations because they're very significant. She has a Secretary of Defense Staff Badge, Army Staff Badge, Aviation Badge, Airborne Badge, Air Assault Badge, Joint Commendation Medal, 7 Army Commendation Medals, Joint Achievement Medal, 3 Army Achievement Medals, Good Conduct Medal, National Service Defense with Bronze Star, Global Expedition Medal, and Global War on Terrorism and Serve Medal, and a Military Outstanding Volunteerism Medal. The NCO with numeral 3 ribbon, and the Army Service ribbon, and Overseas ribbon, and Korean Defense Service ribbon. This is a very outstanding bio, and so recently she's very active with the local American Legion, and after the state convention here later this month, or it's in July, right?
Yes.
Okay, in the middle of July, then Phoebe will assume duties as the commander of the Disney Bell Post 66 here in Bowie.
Welcome, Sergeant Larned.
Thank you.
The first question I have to ask you is, what made you join the Army National Guard in Colorado?
Well, at the time I was 20 years old, Bob, and they had this really awesome static display helicopter in the mall. So I gravitated towards it and met the recruiter and learned all about the education opportunities, because at the time I was going to college and funding it myself. And I saw some real potential and opportunities offered in the Colorado National Guard.
So it wasn't a uniform, it was a helicopter.
It was a helicopter.
As a woman, it is kind of unusual to gravitate toward the military. What do you think spurred you in that direction? Were you in sports a lot? Some people would think that might be one of the reasons women join the military.
Well, initially it was the education benefits and the opportunity for betterment and employment. After the 3 years of serving with the Colorado National Guard, I liked it so much I went active duty. After that, it was pretty much, hey, women don't go airborne, women can't get air assault. So I really loved the challenges that were offered, and I definitely took advantage of any opportunity I had to better myself and become more proficient in my occupational skill.
You seem to have a lot of self-confidence, and it usually takes a lot of people, to sign up for the military, the understanding that you're going to leave home, you're going to leave those surroundings that you've grown up with and were comfortable with. But it seemed you look at the Army National Guard as a sort of a challenge, as a next step in your career.
Well, the nice thing about the Army National Guard is you get to stay home, and you only do training 2 weeks in the summertime and one weekend a month. So it was kind of a good introduction. Once you go active duty, though, you leave home, and my first duty station was Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Oh, that was a big change from Colorado.
Well, it was only 9 hours away, so it was driving.
Oh, I see. Back and forth.
Yes.
So you were also deployed to Haiti. So how was that assignment there?
Actually, I supported the Special Forces in their deployment to Haiti. I stayed back. And it was unique to work with a Special Forces unit. I worked as a GS-5. And learning about the challenges, having the opportunity to go on some of their missions, literally sitting in a C-130 while they jumped out of the tailgate, really inspired me and made me want to go active duty and do more.
I assume you've met a lot of other women in the Army National Guard. And how are they relating to the military? Are they as active as you are, or how do you find the women in the military these days?
I don't know that. I think the military's taken a turn in that it's not segregated as much. A lot of the job opportunities are open to both women and men. The difference in requirements have narrowed a little bit. You still have your fitness test, which has a variance in push-ups, but the sit-ups are the same total as you go throughout the ranks. The run time varies a little bit as well, but you're just talking about this different strengths and capabilities of the different genders. So I would say most female and male service members really take advantage of the opportunities that are provided to them. The separation between the fields has lessened so much that you don't have that increased variance as it was when I went through. When I was in the 82nd, actually, I was in a unit where I was the 4th female having served in the 82nd 307th Engineer Unit. So that was challenging, but I was able to put on a rucksack and hold my weight and run just as fast as the guys, so they had to keep up with me.
Well, that's pretty good.
What was really good, Bob, is I think it was February of 2015, and Phoebe is also a member of the VFW Post 8065 here in Bowie that we meet at the DAV, and it was really amazing because it was a February meeting, I believe, and Phoebe came in, and then Lieutenant Colonel Megan Bugley came, and we had 2 ladies, veterans that came that were deployed both to Kuwait, and they were there at the same time, and we're welcoming them back from combat. It was really amazing.
Yeah, so the boys were keeping the home fires burning at that time. How was the deployment in Kuwait? It was 1 year that you had gone?
You've got your ramp up for a deployment, Bob, as well as your actual, they call it BOG, boots on ground. So the BOG was only 9 months, but the ramp up was about 2.5 months. So we spent more time than we care to admit in Fort Hood, Texas, ramping up and going through training. And then as we went to Kuwait, it was extremely hot. The climate difference was definitely a challenge for all soldiers. Being a leader in a combat aviation brigade, especially as a female, and I was brought in from the outside, so I wasn't actually organic to that unit. It posed its challenges, but they were challenges that I overcame.
Were you the only female in the unit?
I was not. We had a total of 19 females. The highest ranking female was an E5, though, so there was a huge gap.
Wow, that is something. You talked about a 2-month ramp up. I remember I went to some Army camp in Texas for 2 weeks, and that was my training before I went to Vietnam.
We had, ours was 30 days, staging battalion. I was at Oceanside, California, the whole month of October '67 before we went to Vietnam.
Well, they made us work weekends. I just found that hard to believe.
Yeah.
You know, Air Force. You know, it just. Well, I noticed of all your medals and decorations, the Good Conduct Medal. A few of our guests were able to acquire the Good Conduct Medal. So I mean, that's always one that kind of stands out a lot, because I always try to listen. You know, what kind of medals do you have? Korea. You went to Korea also. Did you volunteer for all these overseas assignments?
Korea was actually the first assignment that I came down on orders for. So that I wouldn't consider that a volunteer, but I did volunteer for the first sergeant position. In fact, I interviewed when going to Kuwait. So.
But in Korea, you spent a year there?
Yes, the tour was a one-year assignment. In the 82nd, they try to keep you proficient and only lose you for 1 year, knowing that you'll return back to the 82nd. So it was a one-year tour in Korea. I served as in 2nd MP unit, which is the largest MP unit, I believe, in the Army. It was as the Personnel Administration NCO.
You really can't be called a homesteader, because it seemed you moved around a lot. You were a moving target. So usually in the military, if you do that, that's usually pretty good for your career. But you did change career fields as you progress throughout the Army. A lot of times in the military, they want you to stay in your one particular career field for quite a number of years before they allow you to broaden your scope. But you seem to have been pretty fortunate in having opportunities that you took advantage of, obviously.
Absolutely. I started out in flight operations specialist with the 2nd of the 135th Aviation in Colorado. They were grounding their Hueys and replacing them with Blackhawks. So during that turmoil, we didn't have a whole lot to do. So I had the opportunity to get another military occupational skill, MOS, and I chose business administration, thinking that it would double or couple when I went into the civilian sector. That was great, and it has definitely helped me throughout the years go to a lot of various different units, and I've enjoyed that diversity. When transitioning from the active component to the reserve, however, I found there was one aspect that I wasn't proficient at in business administration, which was finance. So I took the opportunity to get that 3rd MOS and learn finance and become better able to take care of soldiers.
Well, you were in the Guard, you were on active duty, and the reserves.
All 3 components, yes, Bob.
Well, I don't know of too many people that have done that either.
Right.
So how many years do you currently have in the service?
I have 23 years in the service.
You think you'll make it a career?
I think I've done that.
The question I have is, in the Marine Corps, there's a master sergeant and a first sergeant. There's 2 different stripes. In the Army, do you have the master sergeant chevrons, or do they have a first sergeant designation? Or is it just on paper?
So as a first sergeant, you're actually the leader of troops, and you wear a diamond in between your chevrons and stripes. As a master sergeant, you are more or less in a staff position or administration position, so you don't necessarily have troops under your command, and so you only have your stripes and chevrons.
So the Army does have the diamond in it for you when you're a first sergeant.
Yes, they do.
But that's just an administrative, and once you give that up, then you go back to being a master sergeant again.
Correct. If you're not
Okay.
leading troops, then
I
you're
see.
no longer a first sergeant or in that position.
Okay.
Yeah, the Air Force does the same thing.
Yeah,
you
like
could be any sergeant rank and be a first sergeant.
Right.
It's an administrative job, usually at the company level. Whatever.
Yeah, but it's in the Marine Corps. The first sergeant is the first sergeant. He stays in that position, then that rank becomes a sergeant major. Where in the Army, I think they have the sergeant major, then they have the command sergeant major. And that has the wreath, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So one, you're commanding troops, the other one is staff,
Right.
which is just the star without the wreath.
Right.
One of the things you mentioned was you looked for the Army for education. Now, you were going to college before you joined the Guard. Were you able to take advantage of taking some additional courses since then?
Absolutely. I think I've taken or gone to 7 different colleges. You know, the military moves you around, so every 3 to 4 years, I sign up with a new college. In Korea, they had brought in a lot of colleges to teach on base. So the opportunity to go to school, tuition assistance, the VA push towards helping veterans get prepared after they retire or after they have completed their tour or commitment is really high. So majority of soldiers already have a degree before getting out.
So how close do you have a degree, or how close are you?
I have 6 more classes until I attain my bachelor's degree.
Are you able to take some classes now with the University of Maryland or something like that?
Yes, I'm currently enrolled with Excelsior.
Well, that's good. Because you're getting near the point of, well, you can actually stay in for 30 years, couldn't you?
I believe I could.
Okay. As Ray had mentioned earlier, you're going to be the incoming commander of the American Legion.
Yes.
And we have a pretty active post, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting year. Do you have some specific ideas about the upcoming year?
I do, as far as what's coming up. So on the 2nd of July, we have a crayfish concert. On the 4th of July, we have our annual picnic concert. It's open to all veterans, so and we're always promoting membership and supporting all of our veteran opportunities. So you have the DAV, the VFW, the Marine Corps League, and the American Legion, and for the most part, we all work together to support our local veterans and active duty servicemen and women. On the 17th of July, we have a very unique opportunity. The auxiliary has a junior auxiliary, and they are laying a reef at Arlington Cemetery. So that'll be the first time that something like that has been done. And a big congratulations to our president, Debbie McMeans. On the 24th, we have Girls Rule concert, so that should be a lot of fun. It's an all-girls band. On the 27th is our installation commanders, as you had mentioned. Just a quick brief forward, on the 5th of August, Split Second is playing in a concert. September 10th, the SAL does their annual car show. And on the 1st of October, we have our Crab Fest.
Well, we don't want to forget also, and this is going to be advertised later, at the American Legion on September the 17th.
Yes.
Is going to be the joint Veterans Appreciation Day by all our service organizations as part of our commemoration of the City of Bowie's centennial. So we're working on that, and the American Legion was gracious enough to host it at their location, and but we're all going to be joining in, and you'll be seeing things coming out in the next month or so about how it's going to run and so forth. So it's going to be a really big year for Bowie and the American Legion. One of the things about the American Legion is, as Phoebe was mentioning, there's something going on virtually every weekend. They have bands there, they have karaoke, they have all kinds of stuff. And they also have programs for children. So the American Legion, as well as the other service organizations, we're here as a family-oriented organization, and we like to see people come out and explore more of what we do. And the DAV does a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, one thing nice that the Disney Bell Post, they have a kitchen, and then they have the big pavilion. Of course, the DAV don't have a kitchen, but in the way our land is, we're restricted to what we can do. So that's why, as I say, that's why it was really nice for JD and them to say that, you know, they would host the picnic. Now, when I was up at the 50th anniversary of the Timonium on the 18th and 19th of June, I gave your name to the VA. They were supposed to call you regarding having their van down at that event. Have anybody called you yet?
Yes, they did.
Okay, good.
So, and they're going to be there.
Good. And then also talked to Denise Noe from Secretary Owings' office. and I got to send her your email, so she'll be contacting you. So the secretary will be there also.
And we're going to have service officers there to also help out. So this is really a reaching out to the veterans community to come out, see what we're all about, and also you can ask questions about the benefits you've earned and how to acquire those those benefits through the VA.
One thing we didn't mention, Bob, is the reason why we're having this is because it's the 100th anniversary of the city of Bowie, and they're honoring our veterans. And as I say, you know, we alternate the Veterans Day and Memorial Day ceremonies. We do it alphabetically. The Marine Corps League did Memorial Day, and we're going to do Veterans Day. Last Veterans Day, when DAV was in charge, we dedicated the new memorial that looks just like this, with the helmet, and then this Veterans Day we're going to do the two benches.
Right. What's going on there is the city is going to be donating a bench, and the service organizations have all chipped in to buy another bench. So hopefully that'll be up by Memorial Day, and maybe we'll even have our electronic sign by then too.
Right.
Right.
And another thing that maybe go into is that the American Legion does a lot as far as the taking care of the flagpole and such other things at the Veterans Park. So that's what's really neat.
Yes, we also have our honor guard that is always present at both the Veterans and Memorial Day parades, and they do a volley of fire. And we additionally assist with any service members that are serving overseas or abroad in providing them with the Blue Star banner based on how many service members are overseas, based on how many stars are on your flag that you would place in your window.
And the American Legion also was very active in this recent Bowie State week.
Yes.
JD was posting a lot of stuff on Facebook. That's really an amazing program, and it's really impressive to have that many boys out learning government and other aspects of being a good citizen of the United States.
Our children and youth programs have really excelled throughout the years. We have sponsorships for the oratorical concert or contest, as well as you mentioned, different children-specific events. So we have our Halloween, our Christmas, and Easter events that are, just focused towards children.
And I believe you have a Boy Scout troop too.
Yes, we do.
And it's always good to see the Boy Scouts up for the flag disposal ceremony.
Yes.
As well as other activities that they participate in.
Right. 14 June.
Right.
That was on 14 June, yes.
Okay. And then for us old guys, we certainly enjoyed this a couple of weeks ago when the hubcaps were there to perform out in the pavilion. That was a fabulous time, and I'm sure that sometime in the future they'll be back. So if you like the golden oldies and you can still get up or even just tap your feet, it was really a fabulous time. And of course the Clarks cooked a pig, and there was fun, and it was really a great time. I had people come down from Pennsylvania to enjoy themselves.
You also have the turkey shoots where they're normally in the fall, aren't they?
Yes, turkey shoots are every year from from October through March, the following year.
And on Sundays, and that's always a big event at the Legion.
And they also serve breakfast there beforehand, so you don't even have to shoot. All you have to do is show up and have breakfast. The American Legion is about is really service to the community, and we're looking forward to that. And Phoebe, as the incoming commander, being a younger veteran than those of us with gray hair, just kind of gives that extra energy to the Legion as younger members become active in all of our service organizations. And as a female veteran, we're looking forward to having more activity available and getting more female veterans working actively within our service organizations.
And just to touch a little bit more on that, the nice thing about the American Legion is that it is in fact have representation at Congress, and we work closely with the VA and their programs and supporting each other. So there are a lot of other organizations out there, but we try to promote membership by showing that, hey, if you support this organization, they support your VA veterans or VA benefits down the road, as well as your current salaries and whatnot that are being voted on in Congress.
Regarding membership, now a lot of, and you can go into this in more detail, but if you came in the military during the first Gulf War, like August of '90 to current, you're eligible for the American Legion. Maybe you can go a little further, because some of our viewing audience may not know that and realize that they are eligible for the American Legion, even if they haven't been overseas and such.
So eligibility for the American Legion is that, in fact, you have served during a time of war, not that you have been served or have served overseas.
And so if you're serving now or have served recently, you're eligible for the American Legion.
Yes.
And we encourage you to stop by and find out about your benefits. Well, it's kind of hard to believe, Ray and Sergeant Larned, but our time's just about up. And I want to thank all of you for watching Veterans Forum. We hope you enjoyed the program and learned useful information for you and your family. Now we ask you to get involved by stopping by one of the veterans organizations, either the American Legion or the DAV. Find out about the benefits that you and your family have earned by serving honorably in our armed forces. You are a veteran if you served in the military, so we ask you to stop by. You could be in the Guard, the Reserve, active, or a veteran. We hope to see you soon. And thanks again for watching Veterans Forum.